The letter I never sent. I found your name inside a drawer tonight, written on an envelope I couldn't leave behind. The ink had faded, but the feeling stayed the same. Like every midnight carried echoes of your name. I remember how I almost called your phone 100 times, but I stayed alone, afraid the truth would change everything we had. Now silence is the only thing that's left. Some words live forever, even when they're never heard. You're the letter I never sent, the story that never reached the end. Every page still holds a piece of you, every line still feels so true. And if I could rewrite the past, I'd tell you what I couldn't back then. You're the letter I never sent. The city sleeps beneath the pouring rain, while old memories run circles through my brain. I wonder if you ever felt it too, or if these dreams belong to only one of us. The years have passed, but some things never leave. The heart remembers what the mind can't keep. And every road I've traveled since goodbye still somehow leads me back tonight. Maybe some loves aren't meant to stay. Maybe they're meant to teach us how to change. You're the letter I never sent, the wish I carried in my chest. 1,000 nights, 1,000 regrets, but your memory remains. And though the pages now grow old, there's one truth I'll always know: you were the letter I never sent. I waited by the window every afternoon, watching the mailbox like it held the moon. The days turned into weeks, the weeks into years, still holding on to hope through all my fears. Everyone said I should move on somehow, but I kept believing you'd write me down. A few simple words, a sign, a clue that somewhere, somehow you missed me too. Maybe it got lost in the rain, maybe it got lost on the way. The letter that never arrived still lives inside my mind. 1,000 words I'll never read, 1,000 dreams left behind. Did you write my name with trembling hands? Did you tell me everything? I'll never know what was inside the letter that never arrived. Never, that never arrived. Sometimes I imagine what it might have said the apologies, the memories living in your head. Maybe you confessed the things we never spoke. Maybe your heart was breaking too. I picture your hand writing across every page, frozen forever in another age. A message traveling through time and space that somehow never found its place. And every night I wonder why some goodbyes never truly say goodbye. The letter that never arrived still keeps me awake at night. A conversation left unfinished, a candle without a light. Did you ask me to stay? Did you tell me not to leave? I'll never know what was inside the letter that never reached me. Baby, there was never a letter at all. Maybe it was only my heart refusing to fall, building stories from silence, searching for answers in the dark. But sometimes when the midnight wind blows, I swear I can almost hear your voice carried through the distance, like a message without a choice. The letter that never arrived became a part of me, not because of what it said, but because of what it could have been. Some mysteries stay unopened, some pages remain unseen, and some loves live forever between what was and what might have been. So if there was a letter, I hope it found the sky, because even if it never reached my hands, it never truly died. Found it hidden in an old wooden drawer, beneath forgotten photographs and dreams from before. Its edges worn, its paper stained by time, but your name was still written there, just as clear as mine. The ink had faded like a summer sky, yet every word still felt alive. Tonight I traced the lines with trembling hands, as if your heart was reaching through the years again. Some things grow old, but never lose their meaning. That yellow love letter still carries your touch, though the years have passed between us, it still says so much. Every crease tells a story, every page holds a flame, and even time couldn't erase the way you wrote my name. The room was quiet except for the rain, softly tapping on the window pane. I read each sentence slowly once again, like a traveler returning home after years away. You spoke of forever in careful lines of sunsets, promises, and better times, back when our hearts believed love was something that could never leave. The paper may be fragile now, but the memories remain strong. That yellow love letter still carries your touch. Though the years have passed between us, it still says so much. Every crease tells a story, every page holds a flame, and even time couldn't erase the way you wrote my name. I wonder where you are tonight, if you ever think of those days gone by. If somewhere in a drawer of your own you keep a piece of us alive. Maybe love doesn't disappear, maybe it simply changes form, living quietly inside old pages, waiting for a rainy night to be reborn. That yellowed love letter has survived every season, every goodbye, every distance, every unanswered reason. And though our story ended long ago, one truth remains the same. Time turned the paper golden, but never faded the love it contained. So I'll place it back inside the drawer, not because I wanna forget, but because some treasures are too precious to ever leave behind. That yellowed love letter. That yellowed love I found your letter in the middle of July, tucked inside a book I hadn't touched in years. The envelope was worn, the stamp half faded, but your handwriting still brought me to tears. You wrote about the moon above your window and how it reminded you of me. You said some distances are measured in miles and some in memories. Held those pages to my chest, like they could bring you back again. Postmarked with a kiss, sealed with all your dreams, carried through the years, like a river through a stream. Every word still lingers, every line still shines. A love letter delivered beyond its time. The paper smelled of old perfume and rain, like autumn trapped inside a page. You told me not to fear the future and not to let my heart live in a cage. You wrote that love was never perfect, but worth every scar it leaves behind. And somehow reading those old sentences felt like you were here tonight. The mailbox may be empty now, but your words still arrive. Postmarked with a kiss, sealed with all your dreams, keep finding their way back home through the chambers of the soul. Postmarked with a kiss and stamped with yesterday. Yet every time I read it, the years just fade away. The ink may slowly disappear, but the feeling survives. A love letter delivered far beyond its time. So I place it with the others and let the night drift by. Another letter from forever. Postmarked with a kiss. There's a wooden box beside my bed, filled with words we used to say, letters written in the glow of midnight lamps, back when forever felt only a breath away. Some pages talk about summer nights, dancing barefoot under the stars. Some carry promises and little dreams of who we thought we were. Time has passed, seasons have changed, but these pages still remain. Love letters in a wooden box, treasures from another time. Every folded page still carries a piece of your heart and mind. Though the ink is slowly fading, the memories never stop, living quietly forever in those love letters in a wooden box. I open one and hear your voice again, soft as the rain against the glass. You wrote about the future we imagined, a future that moved too fast. Your handwriting still feels familiar, like a road I've walked before. Every sentence brings me closer to the days I miss the most. Some stories never truly end, they simply learn how to rest. Love letters in a wooden box, treasures from another time. Every folded page still carries a piece of your heart and mind. Though the ink is slowly fading, the memories never stop, living quietly forever in those love letters in a wooden box. Maybe that's why people write, to leave a little light behind, something stronger than distance, something stronger than time. And when the world feels cold and distant, I know exactly where to look for the warmth we left behind inside that little wooden box. Love letters in a wooden box, still shining through the years, holding laughter, holding dreams, holding joy and tears. And though life carried us away from everything we planned, these letters still remind me of a love that as a goodbye to the past, but as a thank you for the love we shared before. Love letters in a wooden box. I wrote your name across 100 pages on nights when sleep refused to stay. The moon would sit beside my window while memories carried me away. Some letters spoke of missing you, some were filled with old regrets, others held the simple truth that my heart hadn't forgotten yet. I never knew that love could live inside words left unread. 1,000 letters later, I'm still thinking of you. 1,000 sunsets faded, but the feeling remains true. Every page tells a story, every line holds a spark. 1,000 letters later, you still live inside my heart. The seasons painted silver on my hair, the years kept moving on. Friends became strangers, cities changed, yet some feelings stay strong. I never mailed most of those letters, they stayed hidden in a drawer. Little pieces of my soul waiting behind a closed door. Maybe some messages aren't meant to travel, maybe they're meant to heal the writer. 1,000 letters later, I'm still thinking of you. 1,000 roads have led me to places old and new, but whenever midnight finds me and the world grows dark, 1,000 letters later, you still live inside my heart. If you ever found those pages, you might finally understand how much love can be carried by an empty hand, how silence can become a language, how distance can become a song, how a single memory can survive for so long. 1,000 letters later, the ink begins to fade, but every promise, every dream still echoes through the pages. And though our story ended long before we planned, 1,000 letters later, I still hold your grows quiet once again. The stars shine from above, and somewhere between those pages still lives our love. A thousand letters later, there's a drawer I rarely open anymore, hidden beneath years of dust and time. Inside are dozens of old love letters, each one carrying a piece of your life and mine. Some were written when we were young and fearless, when forever seemed easy to believe, when every goodbye lasted only a moment, and every promise felt impossible to leave. Funny how paper survives long after moments are gone. A drawer full of love letters and a heart full of memories. Every page still whispers the way things used to be. I can almost hear your laughter in the words you left behind. A drawer full of love letters and love frozen in time. Talks about a summer evening when we watched the sun melt into the sea. Another tells a story of a winter morning when you promised you'd never stop loving me. The ink is faded at the edges now, the corners worn and torn apart, but every sentence still feels alive, like a pulse beating inside my heart. May take many things away, but not the feelings written here. A drawer full of love letters and a heart full of memories. Every page still whispers the way things used to be. I can almost hear your laughter in the words you left behind. A drawer and a love frozen in time. I don't read them because I'm holding on, or because I can't move on somehow. I read them because they remind me of who we were back then, of late night dreams and long embraces, of believing anything was possible, of a love so honest and beautiful that even time couldn't erase it all. A drawer full of love letters, treasures no one else can see, little fragments of a lifetime preserved in ink and memory. And though the story reached its ending, the pages still softly shine. A drawer full of love letters, guarding a love that once was mine. Tonight I'll close the drawer again and let the silence stay, but somewhere inside those letters a part of us remains. drawer full of love letters. Your letters still sleep inside a faded box, tied together with a ribbon worn by time. Every page carries a different season. Every word brings your voice back to mine. Some were written on lonely winter nights, some beneath the glow of summer skies. Some were filled with laughter and dreams, others carried tears between the lines. I thought the years would blur the memories, but your handwriting still feels like home. Letters between the lines, holding moments we left behind. Little pieces of our hearts, frozen somewhere in time. Every I miss you still survives. Every promise softly shines. There was always more than words in those letters between the lines. I unfold another page tonight and watch old feelings come alive. The paper's fragile in my hands, but the love remains untouched inside. You wrote about places we'd someday see, the life we imagined endlessly. Funny how dreams can fade away while memories refuse to leave. The ink may fade with every year, but some emotions never disappear. Letters between the lines, holding moments we left behind. Little pieces of our hearts, frozen somewhere in time. Every I miss you still survives. Every promise softly shines. There was always more than words in those letters between the lines. Maybe that's why we write it all, to leave a part of ourselves behind. A way to stay when we can't stay, a way to be found after time. And though the distance changed our lives, these pages still keep us near, like a conversation paused, waiting patiently through the years. Letters between the lines are all that's left of yesterday. But when I read them one more time, the years just melt away. Every word still carries one, every page still softly shines. A love story that never truly ended, just resting between the lines. Tonight I read them once again, not to hold on, but to remember how beautiful found your letter on a quiet Sunday night, tucked between old records and photographs of better times. The paper carried traces of your perfume still, like a memory refusing to stand still. You asked me how I'd been, if I was doing fine. You wrote about the seasons and the passing of the time, and at the bottom of the page, in careful handwriting, you asked if I ever thought of you. I read every word 100 times, but never found the courage to reply. You're the letter I never answered, the question I left behind, a conversation frozen somewhere between your heart and mine. I wanted to write 1,000 things, but silence won again. Now all that's left is your letter and the words I never sent. Days became weeks and weeks became years. Life kept moving through laughter and tears. The envelope remained inside that drawer, waiting for a knock that never came to the door. Sometimes I wonder what you felt back then, checking the mailbox over and over again, looking for an answer that never arrived, to tell you that you still cross my mind. Some regrets don't fade away, they simply learn how to stay. You're the letter I never answered, the road I didn't take, the chance I let slip through my hands, the promise I couldn't make. I carried your words through every year, like a melody in the wind. Now all that's left is your letter and the words I never sent. Maybe I was afraid of reopening old scars. Maybe I thought distance would make us who we are. Maybe I was just too young to understand that some hearts don't wait forever. And now the ink is fading slowly, just like the years we've lost. But your handwriting still reminds me of what silence truly cost. You're the letter I never answered, the chapter left unfinished, the story paused in the middle before the ending was written. If I could speak to you tonight, I'd tell you where I've been. I'd tell you that I kept your read it now and then. The moonlight falls across the page the same way it did before, and for a moment I can almost hear your voice beyond